You are now listening to the A2J2 podcast.
Hello and welcome back to the A2J2 podcast, a podcast that is down one member tonight. Unfortunately, Austin is feeling under the weather, but he gave us his good graces to continue on. But I am joined by Jordan Ison and Andrew Hill, and of course, I am James White. First thing we're going to do today, I'm going to throw it to Jordan. We're going to get a little update on the NBA playoffs here, and then we'll discuss some key topics that we've seen thus far. So, Jordan, go ahead.
First of all, best wishes to Austin. Hope he gets to feeling better. Can't wait to do another pod with him next week. But yeah, straight to the NBA. I think we can all agree on one thing. This has been probably the best first round series just all around that I've seen in a long time. And it's huge to the NBA because the NBA was kind of on a downswing. And I heard on Undisputed today that it has been the most viewed first round thus far in the past 15 years, which is awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, just a couple points that kind of we want to go through. Number one, obviously, the only series as of recording that could change tonight that is over is James's Philadelphia 76ers taking down the Brooklyn Nets. Go ahead, take your victory lap. Let's just call it what it is. I told you this was going to happen. I told you there was no reason to be worried. Brooklyn was just outmatched. Bridges is awesome, but he doesn't have a team around him. Nobody to deal with Joel Embiid. It was a chippy series. Honestly, even with it being a sweep, it was a very fun series to watch. But the 76ers just outclassed them. So go ahead and give your thoughts on your favorite squad going into the second round, James.
I think that obviously I'm very pleased that we were able to sweep them. I do not like the Hawks. Obviously, I'm on record as not liking the Hawks, but I'm hoping that they string this series with the Celtics out as long as they can. We're currently looking at them being up 3 at the end of the first quarter in Game 5 right now, so I hope that they take that game. But the biggest area of concern for me is the health of Embiid. Of course, he missed Game 4. So, you can beat the Nets without Embiid. You can have like Paul Reed, B-ball Paul step up and have a double-double. Tyrese Maxey was fantastic that whole series. James Harden got the job done in multiple games. It's a good team. But, they didn't make it easy on us. And I knew they wouldn't. Nick Claxton played out of his mind in a couple of the games. Found another guy to hate in the NBA. Just getting chippy with Embiid. People
in his defense, he kind of had to because he didn't stand a chance in the actual matchup. I understand why you could hate him for it, but he kind of had to do it.
Yeah, that's just a homer take there because it's my team. If you're a Nets fan, you love that because he's he's given it his all. But people have been. I've seen a lot of stuff about Embiid falling down a lot, and I don't know if you all have looked into that. The reason that he does that is because he got hurt at Kansas. Of course, he missed his first 2 full seasons in the NBA with a foot injury.
Yeah.
And he was basically told that, instead of trying to balance yourself and catch yourself whenever something like that happens, just fall because there's less of a risk to get hurt.
You don't have all the weight falling on. I mean, he weighs a lot, man. He's got to be over 300 pounds, right? So
I mean, I don't know. He's up there because he's a big dude, but but it was good to get the sweep and go ahead and get a little bit of rest. Still waiting on who we're going to play. Obviously, I think it's probably going to be the Celtics unless something crazy happens. But we'll take all the rest we can get, and my anxiety can take a rest for a few days. So it's good to see.
Cool. Yeah, it's definitely great to see. Andrew, I'm going to kind of have a conversation on the second point with this NBA with you. Because there's 2 guys I kind of want to point out, and they're the bad boys of the NBA, right? Dylan the Villain, as Skip Bayless calls him. Dylan the Villain Brooks and Draymond Green both had sort of similar incidents, but not really. Obviously, I see the way that the thing that Dylan Brooks did to LeBron was way worse in my mind than what Draymond did. Only because I see where Draymond's coming from, saying he has to land somewhere. Did he have to land that hard? No, he didn't. He stomped on him.
He may have a little bit, but I don't. No, I think he sold it a little bit. I think.
Sabonis definitely sold it, and Sabonis. I'm never going to say that Sabonis, even as a Kings fan, Sabonis started it. All right, like what Sabonis did was not okay, but what Draymond did could be literally like like broken ribs, punctured lungs, stuff like that. Like that is a whole nother level you don't take it to. And that's what I think Draymond's kind of been known for. A lot of times when he is gets in trouble for the things he does, it's out of retaliation. He doesn't really start stuff. He just
Yeah.
retaliates in the worst way, and he gets a bad rap for it, but I think it's rightfully so. But with that being said, Dylan Brooks, on the other hand, he started it with LeBron. There was no
Oh
reason
yeah.
for that. And also, say what you will about Draymond Green, he's a future Hall of Famer. Period. End
Oh
of story.
definitely.
He's a future Hall of Famer. Dylan Brooks might not be in the league in 3 years. Just
He
being
won't
fair.
be. He
I
won't.
hope
He will
not,
not
dude.
be. I will say this right now, on April
Mhm.
the 25th, 2023 at 8:08 p.m. He will not be a Grizzly next year.
I agree. And
not gonna
honestly,
I hope so.
honestly, I don't know if Draymond will be a Warrior either, just because I don't know how sick and tired they are of his crap. I mean, he does have the opt-in option next year. There's no reason for him not to opt in with the money that he is guaranteed if he does. Um, but it kind of just goes to it, Andrew. I just wanted to ask you: do you think that it really adds something to the NBA playoffs having these villains? Because I do. I love
Oh
it.
yeah, no, I 100% do. It definitely. I mean, whether you're a fan of the team that they're on, or if you're a rival, or even just somebody who plays them. I mean, you're more involved. You're more focused on the game. You have somebody to not like. I mean, people turn on when they don't like it. I mean, they focus in. They want to show up. They want to root against that guy. And I definitely think they have a place in the NBA. And I'm, as much as I hate to say it, I'm glad to hate him. So I'm kind of glad he's in the league because I enjoy hating him. You know?
I
No,
mean, like the other night we met on Discord as a podcast to watch LeBron after Dylan Brooks made those
Dylan
comments.
Brooks, because of what he said and what he
Yeah.
did.
I mean,
Yeah.
were we all going to watch that game anyway? Yeah.
But did we all meet together for a specific reason? Yeah.
Yeah, and the thing about Draymond and Brooks, and the thing, I mean, I think Draymond, obviously, he's got multiple Defensive Player of the Years. He's an asset to that team. He's obviously a much better player than Dylan Brooks.
Yeah.
But the difference between those two instances is, since that happened, obviously the Kings won that game, but the Warriors have turned it on and they've kind of used it as a rallying cry, and now they're playing together. And on the flip side, you've got the Grizzlies, who are, I mean, Dylan Brooks is getting clowned.
Yeah.
He's denying press availability. He's saying everybody's made me a villain. Nah, dude. Like, it's that meme. We all are looking for who did this. It's you, dude.
Yeah.
You did this.
Yeah.
So I think, I mean,
Well,
they're both dirty plays, but
I sort of disagree with the fact that the Warriors have rallied around what happened, just because there's only one. We will know more tomorrow, which is Wednesday, because the Warriors won 11 games on the road in the regular season, but they were a really good home team. And so
Yeah.
I think the difference isn't what happened with Draymond. I think it's the fact they've been back in Golden State.
Yeah.
And
I agree with
so
that.
we will see Wednesday if that really changes. Also, we have to kind of mention the De'Aaron Fox finger injury.
yeah.
Man, it broke my heart for so many reasons. And obviously, being a Kings fan, that's the number one reason. But also, De'Aaron Fox is all of a sudden, like, you have to put him in the conversation with John Morant. Like, you have to put him in that conversation from what he's done this year and what he's done in this postseason. And when you see a guy that is starting to blossom right in front of your eyes, and you can say, this guy's a budding superstar, and then the series is tied 2-2 with the reigning champs, and he gets hurt,
Yeah.
it broke my heart for him. But
The Warriors
obviously,
tend to get lucky like this, man.
they do.
People get hurt against them. Now, I know that the year that they lost to the Raptors in the finals, it was the same thing.
I was
Yeah,
about to
I know
say that
Andrew-
Warriors have
Andrew-
also had
Andrew-
injury problems as well. So
For 1 year, Andrew was texting me, and he was just like, "It's not fair. Steph has to do this by himself." And I was like, "Where was this last year?
I
Whenever
mean, how many times
LeBron
did
was
LeBron
going
have to
against."
do it by himself? Yeah.
So
Well,
yeah, so
De'Aaron Fox is going to play through the finger injury apparently, and I think that's awesome. I mean, obviously he's a tough guy, and nowadays NBA, you're talking about guys like Kawhi Leonard who will sit out if their knees like aching when they wake up in the morning. I just think it's awesome. He broke the tip of his index finger, and he's playing in his shooting hand.
on a shooting
But I
hand
do,
too. Yeah.
but I do think it's going to be different because he does a lot of finger rolls. He does a lot of fadeaways that use those fingertips. We'll see how it really affects him. But kind of we're going to talk about that series a little more in a minute. But kind of the two standout players. That's not the standout player. I'm talking about number 2 and number 3 for me. Jalen Brunson and Russell Westbrook.
Yeah.
Jalen Brunson has
100%.
carried the Knicks, man. And
Yeah.
I was joking in the group chat about Julius Randle And in game 4, he had 9 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist. And the Knicks won
Mhm.
because of Jalen Brunson. That guy is another. You talk about De'Aaron Fox being a budding superstar. You cannot disclude Jalen Brunson. He's right there too. And the resurgence of Russell Westbrook is so
Yeah.
fun to watch.
Yeah.
He's just gotten so much hate because his shooting percentage, what happened in LA with the Lakers. But just to see him kind of find his home and is killing it right now, I just think is awesome. So if you guys want to comment on that, I just think that's a big story in the playoffs thus far.
Yeah, Jalen Brunson, obviously, we've talked about in the group chat. The Mavericks did not prioritize him the way that they should have. He's proving that he is, a guy that you can build a team around. While I'm talking about the Knicks, though, I think that Josh Hart deserves a lot
yeah.
of praise. He's kind of their unsung hero.
The
That Villanova connection. We saw how excited Brunson was whenever he found out Josh Hart was going there. Josh Hart's also a Chelsea fan, so I've got a special place for him in my heart. Even though we're terrible, he deserves to be happy. So, and like Andrew said when we made our predictions, is that he hated picking the Cavs because he wants the Knicks to be good, and I agree.
I agree
And
too.
I think
I do too.
Knicks fans are losing their minds. They're up 3-1 right now, and they're a team that can make some noise, especially, and we'll get
Especially
to it.
Miami.
Especially if Miami continues to do what they're doing. So, who knows? It's a lot of fun. But Russell Westbrook, of course, is a guy big Russell Westbrook guy. I always loved watching him play. It's good to see him kind of getting his flowers now from people who were detracting. You saw the clip of KD and CP3 giving him some love. He deserves that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but I hate that he's having to do it by himself. But yeah, it's good to see him performing and showing everybody that he still got it. And think those games have been so close without Paul George or Kawhi Leonard.
It's been because of Russell Westbrook, man. He shot over 50% from the field and shot 93% from the free throw line. And for the regular season, he was, I think, in the high 30s from the field and 66% from the free throw line.
Mm-hmm.
I hope it continues, man, because I love that Russell Westbrook. Andrew, you got any comments on Brunson and Westbrook?
I definitely agree with them being the standout guys, and dude, it's awesome to see Westbrook doing good again. I kind of hated on him there for a minute, and I kind of felt bad when everybody else started hating on him. I was like, and he's having to tell his kids or.
He doesn't want his family coming to his games and stuff because of things people are shouting at him.
Right, and it's great to see that he's really kind of turned it around. Completely turned it around, and they're using him the right way, it seems like, and same with Brunson. I'm glad he's doing really well. My cousin's a big Knicks fan. I'm happy for him because he's been a Knicks fan for a long time, and it's good to see the Knicks are looking like they're going to take the round one win. I hope, but yeah.
I wouldn't count it over. Not with Spider back there, man. He's got. Playing so well.
And they're still the Knicks too. So.
Yeah, they are still the Knicks. They are still the Knicks.
Very true.
So just jumping into what I think we can all agree, just real quick. We've already talked about it a little bit. The best series of the first round. We all kind of knew what it was going to be. It's been the Kings and the Warriors. Every game, despite maybe game 3, has been really good. Game 4. The Kings turned the ball over 5 times in the last 5 minutes, still lost the game by 1 because Harrison Barnes missed a 3 by maybe 3 inches. Seriously, this series has been awesome, and I think we'd all be deprived if it doesn't go 7 games because it should go 7 games. And honestly, we talked about it before, and I have the Lakers moving on against the Warriors next round. I think whoever wins between the Warriors and the Kings is going to beat the winner of the Grizzlies and Lakers. That's how much both of these teams has proven to me in the first 4 games of the series.
Yeah, I could see that for sure. The one argument you can make against that is, the Lakers just need to win one more. So if they win one more in that game, that series does go 7, then, they're going to have that rest, and then we can have that rest versus rust debate. But LeBron doesn't get rusty. But I picked the Warriors to win that anyway. So it's kind of difficult for me. But this series is so much fun. It's a series where that you're going to be staying up late to watch these games, and you really don't care to do it because it's just it's what you want it to be. It's playoff basketball in its finest.
It is.
Two absolutely phenomenal fan bases. You can see the difference that those fan bases make for their teams. So, like you said, I hope it goes 7. I know in the back of both of y'all's minds, you hope it doesn't because you just want it to be over with. But
if you ask me right now, I'd take 7 games. Andrew might not, but as a Kings fan, I'd take
I
7
bet
games.
you get game 7, right? At home?
At
Yeah.
home. I'd take it.
I bet you would.
And the thing is, to me, like the thing that I think makes it the most fun is the Kings remind me of the Warriors when they were first coming up. The way
Yeah.
they shoot the ball, the way they move the ball, the good coaching, the hustle, the never running out of energy, the clutchness. It reminds me of the Warriors, 10 years ago. So could it be a changing of the guard? I don't know. The Kings are still sort of young. I still don't think they're going to win the series, but I think the fact that they've hung around with the champs whenever nobody gave them a chance it's telling. The Kings are going to be here for a long time.
I like what you said there about them being like the Warriors too, because you saw when the Warriors were on the come up, they were the 8 seed and they played the 1 seed Nuggets, and that was very like Curry was just coming on like as this guy. I think that was the same year he had a huge game in Madison Square Garden, and you could just see how special they were going to be. And we actually liked them at that time.
Yeah,
we all picked Warriors players.
The Iguodala Nuggets.
The Iguodala Nuggets, yeah, because that was when I said Steph Curry's going to go down as the greatest shooter of all time, and you were a big Iguodala guy at the time, and you were like, no, piss on him. But I was like, no, I said it in Centennial in our dorm room.
You did.
And but I agree with you, dude, because they're young and they're hanging with a really good team with a championship pedigree, which isn't even something that Nuggets team had. So it could be. We could be seeing a team that's here to stay for a while. And for your case, I hope that's the facts.
Yeah, me too.
I've never disliked the Kings back in the Chris Webber days. So I hope we see them here, and I hope they get a ship eventually after the Sixers. But
Andrew, any thoughts on the series? I mean, I know that you've probably been sweating it just as much as
dude. I'm not wanting that game 7 one bit. I'm trying to get through it. I'm glad we're able to win at home, but we've got to win one on the road. I mean, and like you mentioned, 11 games all season long. That's it's not too good. So especially against this Kings team, and it's unfortunate. I mean, I hate what he's doing out there against the Warriors, but I don't want to see Fox, down by an injury. Like I want to beat him at his best. Like I want to be able to.
Of course, yeah. And that's the same thing with me. Whenever Draymond got suspended, I didn't like the suspension because I didn't want to beat him without one of their better players. I'd rather beat him at full strength. I don't want to hear any excuses of why the Kings won this series. But we're gonna go on to like the big story in 1 second. I just want to talk about Victor Oladipo. Man, that sucks. I hate Victor Oladipo. Torn patella tendon. Just a guy. This is like his 4th knee injury. It just sucks. I just wanted to throw that out there real quick. But we're really going to talk about the man of the playoffs thus far, as my man James White called him, Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler of the Miami Heat. They have a 3-1 lead on the Bucks. Jimmy Butler dropped 56 points. Was it last night for the Heat? What? I told you guys. When we did the predictions, I said one thing because I actually had the Heat playing the Celtics. I said, playoff Jimmy Butler is a different animal.
You did say it.
It was right. That was just dead on. Jimmy Butler, if you were to just like the NBA playoffs just stopped right now, he'd be the MVP of the playoffs.
Oh, without it.
100%.
Do you guys really think the Heat are about to knock out Milwaukee? Now that Austin's not here, we can talk about this.
No, listen, you can never discount Giannis. In warmups last night, he didn't look like himself, but I mean, 3-1's a tough hole to climb out of.
Yeah.
And when Jimmy Butler's feeling himself, it's real hard to knock him off. And as I've said in the group chat, the freaking 76ers chose Ben Simmons over this guy.
Yeah.
And I loved last night whenever they said they were chanting MVP for him and everything, and he was just like, I think that's Joel, if I'm being brutally honest, because they're still boys. And you saw Joel tweet playoff Jimmy Butler last night, and I'm a big fan of Jimmy Butler. I like his game. I've liked him since he played for the Bulls. He's just fun to watch. Works hard. Isn't somebody who came in as a super highly touted prospect. I believe he came out of Marquette, and people didn't really know who he was really unless you paid attention to college basketball. And he just gets better.
Yeah.
He carried the Heat to the finals in 2020.
He works. He works
Yeah.
hard.
He works
Like,
so hard, man. How many times do you see him like on the bench, just like head in hands? He's
Yeah.
exhausted, but he gets back out on that court and just gives it everything. I mean, it's
Yeah.
Super
awesome.
likable guy too. If you
Yeah.
watch his post game interview, like like imagine dropping 56 points in a playoff game and then just being so nonchalant and cool and casual.
yeah.
Like he's
Did you
so
see-
likable.
Did y'all see that Heat player that like the jumbotron up at the top showed Jimmy Butler's stats like right before the end of the
Yes.
game? Like 50, he's just like,
It was
and then Jimmy
Nikola-
Butler's in the background. He's like,
that
He's
Nikola
just
Jokic
awesome.
kid, the Jovic kid. He was just like, oh my god, yeah, you're
Yeah.
witnessing greatness.
he's him.
He's
He's
definitely the story of the playoffs so far. And I'm sorry, Austin. I know you're going to watch it back, but I hope he finishes them off.
If he does, I like them to get to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah, I do too.
Especially if he's playing like that. Yeah,
yeah,
100%.
and them drawing the Knicks. I mean,
Yeah.
it'd be funny to have that. It's either Jimmy Butler or Jalen Brunson. So one of the guys we've talked about is going to be there for us to talk about making that run. So could be good for content. Like I said, I'm not going to discount the Bucks because of their championship pedigree. You know, it's a tough hole to climb out of, but if anybody can do it, it's Giannis.
Yeah. Well, that's going to be the end of the NBA segment. Again, we're just giving updates on. We're going to just give updates on the playoffs and our predictions. Right now, our predictions, everybody's 100% because we all picked the 76ers. So there's that. That might change by the time this episode comes out, but as of right now, we're all 100%. So James, I'll let you do your thing.
Gotcha. So we'll go ahead and jump into a little NFL before we get into some hockey stuff. Number one on the field, number one in my heart, number one in history of being paid in the NFL, Mr. Jalen Hurts got his bag. And he takes, and you know, you look at the number and you see, but when you see how it's broken down and the incentives and everything like that, that is as team friendly as a deal like that can be. Was absolutely just a load off of my shoulders. Like I knew we were going to sign him, but the sooner the better. Super happy that we did that. And you know, his money is cool, but championships are better. Was just, dude, God, I love him.
As a Cowboys fan, I really hope it's like a sign and trade thing, and y'all send him out to the AFC. I don't see it happening, but I'm happy for Jalen Hurts too. As much as I dislike the Eagles, I'm just going to throw something out there. I'm a big Jalen Hurts guy just because I love his demeanor, his attitude in the game. You can tell he's like Jimmy Butler out there. I mean, honestly, he's just always putting his all on the field at all times. So I'm happy he got his bag. And yeah, his whole spiel about championships over money, like I love it, man. And I honestly think he's going to win 2 or 3 in his career. He's got that mentality. He's got that, you know, I think it all almost stems from when he got benched in the championship game to Tua.
Mm-hmm.
He's got this chip on his shoulder to prove that he's him. And unfortunately for my Cowboys, he's him. So I'm happy for him.
Listen, the last thing that anybody wants is for the Eagles to win 2 or 3 championships.
Yeah.
If you want to deal with me, because I
No.
will be insufferable.
Dude, I'm happy for him as well. It took me a minute and a half to count all the zeros in the contract. I mean, well deserved though. I mean, couldn't go to a better guy. I mean, talent wise, personality wise, just seems like real down to earth, and his mindset is in the right. I mean, he's on the right path. Like he's still focused. He's got this bag over here, this giant bag over here, but he's still focused on the main goal for the franchise, for the fans. He wants a championship, and that's awesome to see, especially right after getting this huge payday. Like, it's great to see.
Yeah, and it's also huge for the Eagles to get this deal done before Justin Herbert comes up for a payday, before Joe Burrow comes up for a payday, before somebody finally gives Lamar what he deserves. So
I think the Eagles are trying to teach the Ravens a lesson on how they should have done it with Lamar.
Yeah, see, that was a big area of debate yesterday on Twitter between our A2J2 viewer Cam, who we are going to have. Our friend Cameron Fox will be joining us on an episode in the future when we talk some NFL, the resident Giants fan. But he basically said he thought that he was taking a shot at Lamar there. You know, me and Austin kind of got on his head because he's going at our boy, and then he went back and he watched the press conference and he said, okay, that was obviously a shot at Deshaun Watson. I'll rescind my slander there.
And that's totally fine. We're all allowed to shoot shots at Deshaun Watson.
Yeah. You can
I
say
mean,
whatever
that's
you want
fine.
about Deshaun. I'm
Yeah.
very much on record saying that he is a repugnant human being, so that's
Oh,
fine.
for sure. For sure.
But another quarterback making news, it's something that we've teased for a long time, and as Charlie Barons, the comedian, said, Aaron Rodgers finally completes the longest Midwest goodbye in the history of the world. Aaron
And
Rodgers
Mike,
is finally,
and Mike Greenberg can finally sigh. A big
yeah,
sigh of relief. That
good
man
for
has
him.
been stressed for a long
Yes,
time.
good for him.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers to the Jets. It's finally official. The Jets get Rodgers. They essentially just have a pick swap in the first round, so they go from 13 to 15, and they also get pick 170. The Packers get pick 13, like I said. They get pick 42 and pick 207. But the big one is the conditional second round pick. If Rodgers plays over 65% of the snaps for the Jets next year, which he should, that does become a first round pick. Which, I mean, so what I want to ask you all, because I really don't know how to feel about it. Aaron Rodgers obviously is a year removed from winning an MVP, but he's going to be 40 this year.
Mhm.
Is it worth it to give up that pick for maybe 2, 3, if you're lucky, years of a declining Aaron Rodgers?
Yes. And no.
That's what I'm saying.
I think is it worth it if you were to ask, is it worth it? Absolutely. Why? Because the Jets have been poverty for so long. They had to make a move. And so I think it was absolutely pivotal that they got the deal done. And they didn't want to give up the 13th pick. They did, but they got to the 15th pick. So it is what it is. It's sort of a wash. I mean, a little bit, obviously, a little bit of a difference there, but not much. But I think really the conditional pick on him playing 65% of the snaps, why could that not have been a condition of them making it to the playoffs or him playing more than 1 year? Say he has to play 2 years. If he plays 2 years, then that's a conditional. That will go to first round because he could play 65% of the snaps this year and then retire. And in
That
that,
would be
mentality,
something he would do.
absolutely. And in that mentality, it's not a good move for the
Yeah.
Jets.
Right.
But
Now, I think,
it's a splash they had to make. So the Jets had to get it done. And in my mind, they had to get it done before the draft. So I think
no, I agree.
so.
And Aaron Rodgers, I think he basically handpicked the Jets to be the team that he's going to. But it could get with the New York media and the way he is, that could change. That could change really quick. So it'll be interesting to see. It'll be interesting to see that develop. Like I said, he's got a young star in Garrett Wilson, their receiver. He's got his boy Alan Lazard. He's got Brees Hall. So it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to it. I think it'll be good. It'll make the AFC very, very competitive. And it gets one of the best quarterbacks of all time out of the NFC. And Jalen Hurts is by far the best quarterback in the NFC now.
I mean, Dak's still there, man.
Let's stop. Well, hang on.
Look me in the eyes, Jordan, and tell me you mean that statement.
He did make it to the Super Bowl, dude.
Okay.
Dak made it to the Super Bowl this year,
I'm like
dude.
60-40 on whether Dak's the best quarterback on the Cowboys roster. So Cooper Rush's pretty damn good. I mean, come on.
Oh man.
Andrew, what do you think? Do you think that Aaron Rodgers, that trade was worth it?
Well, I think, I mean, like you guys said, I'm really 50-50 on it as well. I think only time's going to tell. I mean, if the Jets come out and win a Super Bowl next year, then obviously it's worth it. I think they have a small window, and they've been bad for forever, so I think they need to attack it now, and I feel like Aaron Rodgers, I mean, all-time great quarterback. If he can't lead a team to a Super Bowl, then, who can? So I think if they win a Super Bowl, yeah, obviously it's worth it, but only time's going to tell. So I'm kind of right there 50-50. Who knows?
Yeah. It's kind of like the Rams F them picks thing. Like if you win a Super Bowl, cool. Part of me kind of thinks that like if they're over halfway through, this is just a little conspiracy theory thing. If they're over halfway through the season and he's played, let's say 55 amount of the snaps, and they are far off from the playoffs, do they consider sitting him?
Or shut him down.
I'm just saying. I don't
Awesome.
think that's going to happen because they were in playoff contention for a long time last year with
They'll,
Zach.
they'll be in playoff contention.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a question
Surely.
about it.
But just a fun little thing to think about. Just
Yeah.
we'll sit on that and maybe revisit it in the future.
Yeah.
But another big story coming out of the NFL is, of course, the player suspensions because of gambling. Jameson Williams and Stanley Berryhill of the Detroit Lions get 6-game suspensions for gambling on games that are not NFL football. While another Lion, or two other Lions, or no, just one other Lion, Quintez Cephas, Quintez Cephas and CJ Moore of the Lions and Shaka Toney of the Washington Commanders are suspended indefinitely for putting money on NFL games. CJ Moore and Quintez Cephas, who I'm really disappointed Austin isn't here. He's one of his guys from Wisconsin. He was a big Cephas guy. Our whole debate was Cephas versus Juwan Jennings. We know what the answer to that is now. But Moore and Cephas both get just released from the Lions. So they're not only suspended indefinitely, but they don't have a team. And there's a lot of discourse about this, whether or not this should be that big of a deal of sports gambling, whatever. It's legal in certain states, yada, yada, yada. We saw it. But the thing is, we saw it last year with Calvin Ridley.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're Quintez Cephas or CJ Moore, what makes you think you're not going to receive more backlash than Calvin Ridley?
Yeah.
So it's just a really stupid decision.
I agree. I mean, so yeah, sports gambling, it's not illegal anymore. But as we all know, we all have jobs. There are things that our jobs will not allow that are technically legal. And all of these guys know that you're not allowed to gamble on sports. And if you don't know that, you're not smart enough to be in the NFL. So, I mean,
CJ Stroud. That's what I was about to say, dude.
But I mean, in my mind, it's just like I love sports gambling. I mean, I don't do a lot of it, but I think it's just a great addition to the sport. It brings people to sports that aren't normally, into it. But if you're playing in the NFL, you should definitely not be able to gamble on the NFL. So right. the guys that were doing that, come on, seriously, like what are we, like the 1920s White Sox? Like seriously, what are we doing? Yeah, what are we doing? And I mean, again, you read your contract, you have an agent, you know what's going on, you know you're not supposed to do this, you do this anyway, then you get punished. That's the way it goes. So, I mean, no one to blame but themselves.
Yeah. Agreed.
I am kind of halfway on this one. As a professional sports bettor here,
oh yeah.
No. But no, I'm halfway on it. I feel like they should be able to bet on other sports. Like Jordan said, NFL, that should definitely be outlawed or banned or so I think the punishment's fair in that case. I mean, these guys all know each other. They're all friends. I mean, who knows if they can kind of...
Yeah, but my question to that is, don't you think that there are NFL players that are friends with NBA players? So don't you think that kind of translate in both ways? I mean, I do agree with you. I think that you should be able to bet on other sports, not the one you're playing in. But there are a lot of good relationships. I mean, you talk about, like, was it OBJ and LeBron are big friends? And, I mean, yeah. So...
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Yeah, I don't think that having a friendship there will impact you throwing a game or anything, but
yeah,
like I'm kind of with Andrew on this. Like I think that
No, I agree. I agree with Andrew too. Yeah,
but yeah, it's a sticky situation, and it's something that if you outlaw one, you got to outlaw them all.
Yeah,
and we see it going back all the way to Pete Rose betting on his own games, and Pete Rose never bet against his team. Like, he always bet on his team to win, so it's not like he was shaving points or anything like that.
Rose should be in the Hall of Fame.
He should be in the Hall of Fame. He's the greatest hitter to ever play baseball.
Yeah.
But
at the same time, though, like, I feel like if you bet for your team and for yourself, I feel like you should always be able to bet on yourself. I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of torn on it, really, because,
that's a whole other conversation.
Yeah.
You see boxers that do it. I mean, they can bet on themselves to win.
That's like the boxing's like the Wild West, though, dude. That's
it's a lawless association. So
hey, also, I told you guys that Tank was going to beat Ryan Garcia, but
I still like Ryan Garcia.
That's fine. You
I
can
just
like him.
I just like him. I didn't think he was going to win. I just like him.
Right. All right. Well, that'll conclude our first segment here. We're going to take our first break here. Then we're going to jump into some NHL playoff predictions. Of course, the series are some of them are very close to concluding. Others are very much up in the air. So when we come back, we're going to talk a little hockey, and I know Andrew can't wait for it. So. All right, welcome back. We're going to talk a little hockey here to end this episode. We'll jump right into it. In the West, currently, the Avalanche, the defending champions, and the Seattle Kraken are tied 2-2. Huge game last night, overtime win by the Kraken, tying the series up 2-2. And Cale Makar was handed a one-game suspension today. This is really hard. Starting it off.
Yeah.
I mean, this is really difficult. It's do you go with the playoff pedigree or do you go with the new, exciting, fun, fast team? The Makar thing really screws it up too, because originally I had the Avs winning, and I still think I do have them winning, but I think it's going to be in 7 games. It's the Kraken are young and feisty. You know, they took the 1-game lead. Avs won 2 in a row, and then the Kraken won last night. So it's real. I'm really split here, but at the end of the day, I have to go with the experience and guys like Nathan McKinnon. So,
all right. So I'm keeping up with our picks here. So, I completely agree. The Makar thing makes it interesting. The Kraken remind me of Vegas when their first year in, just coming out, just all this energy, bunch of guys who didn't really get a chance at all these other places, so they really want to make their name known. I just don't think they have what it takes. I mean, the Avs are, reigning Stanley Cup champs for a reason. They're incredible. Didn't have the best year this year comparatively to what they did a year ago. Up and down, but they really got strong towards the end of the season. But I really think what it's going to come down to is the home ice advantage, which Colorado has. Colorado will win Game 5. Seattle will win Game 6. Colorado might just blow the doors off of them in Game 7 on experience alone. So, yeah, give me the Avs in 7.
All right. So, I thought it was interesting that Seattle took a 2-point lead early, and then the Avs were able to come back, tie it up late, well in the second. I like the Krakens, honestly, for this, but so I also think it's going to go 7 games, but I think it's going to be really close, and I think it's going to be high-scoring Game 7. I'm going to go 4-3 Kraken in Game 7.
All right. I love
very
the pick.
specific.
I love
I'm
it.
here for it. You just have the guts to make the pick we want to make.
Yeah.
So the next series is the Stars versus the Wild.
I hate both of them. I hate both of them.
I hate them both too. You've got the Stars who, both of them are division rivals of the Predators.
Yeah.
The Stars put us out of the playoffs a few years ago. The Wild, for some reason, have a bunch of former Predators on their team. They're like where Predators go to finish their career. But it is tied 2-2. And honestly, I think I hate the Stars more. And I do like Kirill Kasparov. So I have the Wild, and again, I have them in 7.
So I have the game up right now on my phone.
I was about to do the same thing.
The Stars are winning Game 5 2-0, so that kind of gives them a little leg up. And it also kind of goes right back to the home ice advantage thing. I think when you have such a slim advantage or slim difference between the two teams, I just kind of have to lean on the home ice advantage. And so I probably hate the Stars more. I definitely hate the Stars more, actually. I mean, for a long time, the Wild were kind of a joke, and the Stars were really good. Started to hate, like when the Preds were good, the Stars were really good too. But I'm going to go Dallas just on the fact of they're winning 2-0 in Game 5, and I think they're going to win Game 5, which is going to put them up 3-2. So, and maybe
That's
I changed a little bit, but
No, I have the scores up too, but
you believe.
I believe.
He believes.
You believe. Kevin Fiala, does he still play with the Wild?
No, he doesn't play for them anymore.
Oh, okay.
Well, my history on hockey is slim to none. So, learning what I know now from Jordan, Um, the Stars being good in the past, I think history. I think when you have a good team, a good franchise, a good organization, those teams find a way to win when it matters most. So if the Stars were good in the past and the Wild's kind of been a joke, I'm gonna say the Wild is gonna fall off again, and I've got the Stars in 6, 2-1.
Okay.
All right.
All right. So that brings us to another couple of teams that I despise.
Hate both
Um,
of these teams too.
the Vegas Golden Knights and the Winnipeg Jets. The Jets are another team that put the Preds out of the playoffs. That was the year we won the President's Trophy too. That sucked.
Yep.
But Vegas currently holds a 3-1 lead. They've been red hot since they came into the league. They, went to the Stanley Cup Finals their first year as a team. The Jets have kind of been a team that go to the playoffs, and they're knocking at the door, but they never really get the job done. And I just think they're in too big of a hole right now.
Yeah.
So I think Vegas wins this next game, and it's Vegas in 5.
I mean, they have home ice advantage for game 5 and game 7. You're trying to tell me that Vegas is going to lose 2 games at home out of 3? Not a chance.
It's a really strong home ice advantage too.
Yeah, very, very strong. They're just a better team than Winnipeg. I mean, all around. I mean, Winnipeg had 95 points this season, and Vegas had 111. It's kind of a huge spread, and Vegas is just a better team. I watched actually the game the other night. Marchessault is just so good, man.
Yeah, Jack Eichel too.
Jack Eichel, it's a good team. It's a team that can make a deep run. I think they win in 5. I think they take care of it Thursday night.
Yeah, nobody likes being down 3-1 or 1-3. And again, I don't know that much about hockey, but there's not that many teams that come back from 3-1. So
unless you have LeBron on your team.
Yeah.
yeah.
Here's one thing you have in common with Vegas. You may not know a lot about hockey, but neither do Vegas fans. So it's okay.
They're rather new. And Kraken fans
they're rather
as well.
new too.
Fair point. So I think I'm going to go with both of you said Knights in 5, correct?
Yeah.
I've got the Knights in 5 as well. I think they'll close it out. They've got home ice. You said game 5 anyway, so I think that place is going to be loud and fans are going to be there. So might as well close it out.
Yeah, I agree. The next series I think has been the most fun of the first round. They've had a couple overtime games, haven't they?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the Oilers and the Kings, on paper, it's obviously you favor the Oilers, but the Kings are just they're scrappy, man, and they've got Kopitar and Doughty, people like that who've been around for quite a while. And then you got guys like Arvidsson who have made runs in the playoffs with other teams. With our Preds, was very disappointed when we got rid of him, sent him to the Kings.
Yeah, me too.
But I did have the Oilers in the Stanley Cup Finals many weeks ago. So you got to kind of lean on guys like McJesus and Draisaitl in a series like this. You've got Ekholm on the defensive side that you acquired in the middle of the year. So I think that at the end of the day, that's what makes. I know it hurts. That's what makes the difference. And I actually have the Oilers in 6. I think they're going to win the next 2.
I love Matthias Ekholm. I love Victor Arvidsson. I love both of these teams. I'm just going to call it what it is. I mean, honestly, if I were to look at my favorite teams in the NHL, it's probably the Preds, the Kings, and the Oilers. I love these teams. And I've loved the Kings since Kopitar. And I mean, I guess the Sharks would be up there too. I've always liked Brent Burns. But I honestly, I've watched these. I watched one. I don't remember if it went to overtime or not. I think it was game 2. Watched it while I was playing poker one night. It was just such a good game, man.
Yeah, that was an overtime game.
Honestly, the Kings look better than the Oilers. Like, I feel like the Oilers are always fighting for their lives. They're trying to make that comeback. The Kings look better. That's why I'm going with the Kings. I'm going with the Kings in 6 games. I think they're going to win tonight, and I think they're going to go back to LA, and they're going to win game 6. I think the Oilers are the much better team, and I picked the Oilers to make it. But I kind of forgot how much the Oilers choke every time they get to the playoffs. Mm-hmm. So that's why I've got to go with the Kings.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with James on this one. I'm gonna go with the Oilers. I do have it going 7 games, but that would put the Oilers at home, correct?
Yep.
hmm
So I think home field advantage, home ice advantage, always plays a factor, especially in a game 7. So I'm gonna go Oilers on this one.
Okay. Yeah, it's hard to bet against Connor McDavid,
It is.
even though he's not been there, but that's what we're kind of waiting on there. So that'll finish the first round in the West. We'll jump over to the East. This should be an easy one. The Bruins and the Panthers. Boston leads 3-1. Boston with the record for the most points in a season. A historically great team.
My
They're
Bruins,
gonna
let's go.
they're gonna stop. They're gonna finish it in 5. They're gonna win the next game, and that's gonna be all she wrote.
Can we all just applaud Florida for winning a game in this series?
I mean,
Like,
really.
That's fair.
huge. I mean, like the Bruins lost like 12 games in regulation this season. It was stupid. Yeah, it's Bruins
One
in
of them
5.
was to the Preds.
It was. It's Bruins in 5. There's no other answer. It's Bruins in 5.
I mean, again, hockey knowledge not there, but even I know who the Bruins are. So I think that says enough. I've got the Bruins in 5 as well.
No.
Yeah. So the next one should be. I mean, on paper, maybe not. You'd think it was interesting. Toronto Maple Leafs, Tampa Bay Lightning. Currently, Toronto holds a 3-1 lead.
hmm
So you see that, and you're like, obviously, Toronto's got the upper hand. They're the higher seed, but they're Toronto.
They are Toronto.
Still, it's round 1.
This is what
They
they
don't
do in
ever
the
get
first
to
round.
round
Now.
1. Yeah.
They haven't won a playoff series in God knows how long. So this is something that they do. We've seen them blow many big leads before. I have the Bolts in 7.
Bold. Very bold, and I know our
Wow.
buddy Austin would be very, very proud of that pick. But there's no chance. I've watched some of these games. I've watched some of these games too. Obviously, there's a chance, but there's no chance. I've watched
Best
some of these
hope,
games.
but just give up now.
Every game has been really, really good, but something feels different about this Maple Leafs team. It's 3-1. You know,
I'll tell you
Tampa.
I'll tell you what that difference is. Callie Yarncroke's on that
Oh,
Maple
for
Leafs
sure,
team.
for sure.
I hope they win. I hope they
But
win.
yeah. But there's also just the discrepancy on this year. Like this year, the Maple Leafs were just a much better team than Tampa Bay. 111 points to 98 points in the regular season. The Maple Leafs, I know they do this in the regular season, but now it feels like they're kind of backing it up. They've had clutch moments, which in the clutch, they've really choked in the past couple years. So I think that give me Toronto in 5. I think they're going to close it
Ooh.
out on Thursday. Sorry, Austin, I love you, buddy, but yeah, give me Toronto in 5.
Nice. Well, with a score of 5-4, I mean, both teams can score.
Yeah.
Yes.
Got some
They both
offensive
have very
talent.
good scores.
Yeah. So, I think the Lightning will win another one, but I think inevitably, I think the Toronto is going to come up on top. They're going to take it in, I think 6. I think they'll lose one more, but I think they'll close it out in 6.
Close it out in Florida. Ooh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Love it.
Both of them winning on the road.
Yeah.
So these two teams are playing right now. The Carolina Hurricanes and the New York Islanders. Carolina currently holds a 3-1 series lead. But currently the Islanders are up 3-1 on the Hurricanes.
Mhm.
But that just changes my amount of games.
Yeah.
I still think it's going to be Carolina in 6. I just think that they're a better team. They tend to do this in the playoffs. They'll get hot for a round or two and then they'll drop off. But I have the Canes.
I have the Kings as well. I do think the Islanders are going to close the game out tonight. I actually think they're going to go back home and win. But Carolina has one of the best home crowds in all of hockey. So I think Game 7 in Carolina is going to be too tough for the Islanders to handle. Yeah, give me Carolina in 7.
This one's tough. I just saw mine just refreshed here that it was 3-1. I mean, if we're going by mascots, you can't really stop a hurricane, especially if
We
you're an
have said that.
Islander.
We are very pro hurricane on this podcast.
Especially if you're an Islander. I don't think your record's too well against hurricanes. So
Very true.
I've
I
got
love that, honestly. Bring the mascotology into it.
Yeah, you can. You can do whatever you want.
So I've got the Hurricanes, but I think this one might be a little out of reach, but I'd love to see a turnaround here, but I don't think it's going to happen. So I've got the Hurricanes in 6.
Okay.
I got Carolina.
I'll have Carolina. That brings us to
this next one's been a really good series, by the way. I've
been
watched
good
some.
too.
It's been very good.
Yes, and it's kind of weird because you have the New Jersey Devils and the New York Rangers. It's been kind of a weird series where it's not been so much like the Oilers and the Kings. It's been like one team has outclassed the other on a different night. It's just which team's going to show up. And I really struggle with this one because I like Jack Hughes. I remember hating the Devils when I was a kid just because they were the Devils.
I mean, fair enough.
Yeah, you can't root for the Devils. But the Devil also plays for the Rangers and Patrick Kane.
That's very true.
It's really hard for me, but I think that the playoff experience with Patrick Kane, and they also have Tarasenko on that team. It's just Shesterkin is coming off of winning the Vezina last year. I think that at the end of the day, they edge them, but I think I've got the Rangers in 7.
Yeah, I think it's going to go 7. I think we could probably all agree on that. This has been one of those series where every night you just don't know what's going to happen.
I agree as well.
I like Shesterkin, man. I really do. I like Jack Hughes though. I'm going Devils. Because again, when it comes down to that close of a series, Game 7 will be in New Jersey. So, give me the Devils.
Also, shouts out Artemi Panarin.
Yeah, for sure.
Again, I think it'll be close. I mean, it's 2-2. Yeah, the Devils won yesterday, 3-1. But I mean, honestly, it's going to be a close one. I agree. It's going to go to Game 7. I'm torn, really. You don't want to root for the Devils, but you also don't want to root for the Devil. So,
Yeah.
Give me the Rangers in 7.
Right.
2-0.
Okay.
I like it.
I don't like picking them, but
yeah, I don't either.
So that'll conclude the first round.
Do you want me to? I've got them all written down here of our picks.
That's fine. I have all of mine written. Like I just have mine, but yeah, you can go ahead if you want.
Oh, okay. All right. In the second round, we all actually have different matchups for the first round of the Western Conference there, or the second round of the West. Andrew, you have the Kraken versus the Stars. I've got the Avs versus the Stars. James, you have the Avs versus the Wild. The Avs versus the Stars, man. I hate that. I really do.
Yeah. It's another 2 Central Division rivals.
I really hate that, but I go down to star power. Yeah, I mean, I have to. I just don't see it with the Stars. Give me the Avs in 5. I think the Avs are too good.
See, I have the Avs in the Wild.
Yeah.
So I have the Avs in 6. I almost went 5. I know the Wild are losing right now, so it's weird to even have them there. It's especially taking the Avs to 6. The Kraken have kind of shown some chinks in the armor. So I think that they are a team that is fast and fun and is good, but they also have some weak spots. So I've got the Avs in 6.
Andrew, you have the Kraken and the Stars.
Yep. So both of these round 1 series are tied at 2-2. So you have the argument of individual matchups and how they rank and how they fare each side, but I don't know enough to really break those down. So I think it'll be close just based on that. Both these matchups are tied 2-2, and whoever gets through, I just think it'll be a close matchup regardless. I do think I'm going to stick with the with the Kraken here. I think it'll be close.
Dang, man, he's riding on that.
He's riding Seattle.
I love it.
I do think it'll be close, but I think they're gonna pull out a last second win in Game 6. Kraken in
Oh,
6.
Little Vegas style run for Seattle. I like it. I respect
Yeah.
it.
Why not?
Next matchup, I think Andrew, you and James have the same matchup. I've got Vegas versus the Kings. My heart wants to go with the Kings. It really does. Yeah, Vegas is too good though. I think Vegas is the better team. Yeah, I mean I don't think it's that like a huge discrepancy. I've got Vegas in 7. I think Vegas is going to advance, but I just think they're the better team.
Yeah. And I've got Vegas and the Oilers, and originally I had the Oilers down, but I've talked myself out of it. Vegas is just too good. They're going to go on another run here. I have Vegas in 7.
And Andrew, you have
I've got Vegas and the Oilers.
Yeah.
So I think the Knights are running hot, and I think it's going to continue to stay that way. I don't think it's going to be close in the next round. I think the Knights are going to win it in 5. I think they lose one game, and I think they take it in 5.
Wouldn't be surprised.
No.
James, you want to start us off in the East because you got the different one. You got Tampa Bay rolling, winning 3 in a row against Toronto and taking on Boston.
Doesn't matter. Bruins in 5. I mean, that's all I have to say. They're the better team. They're the best team in the league. Bruins in 5.
Okay, hear me out. Hockey's a weird thing, right? There's something about storylines, and the best team doesn't always win.
You're
And
not about to pick the Maple Leafs to eliminate the
I feel it
historically.
with Toronto, man. I feel it. There's something different. I've watched a few of their playoff games. I feel it. The Bruins are obviously record-setting. They're unbelievable, but NHL hockey in the playoffs is different. Give me the Maple Leafs in 6.
In 6?
In 6.
In
Because it
6?
goes to 7, they're not winning in Boston. Give me the Maple Leafs in 6.
The Toronto,
Okay.
one of the most cursed franchises in hockey, is going
Hey,
to.
what first change? Ask the Red Sox. Ask the Cubs. Versus have to turn around.
All
This
right.
might be we're not there yet, but they
Callie Yarncroke gets a ring. Why not?
Huh?
Callie Yarncroke gets a ring. Why not?
This is just the second round. We're not going that.
I know.
All right. Well, Jordan, we had the same matchup, but this is where we part. Yeah, I've got the Bruins. I don't think Toronto. I mean, they sound like a clutch or a non-clutch case if there's ever been one. So, I'm gonna go the Bruins, and give me them in 5. Bruins
Nobody
in 5.
believes in my Maple Leafs, guys. Come on.
Nah, bro.
I'm rooting for them.
Listen,
don't get me wrong. I have
They
nothing
have
against
the
Leafs.
history to back it up. All right, everything they've done in the past couple of years is proven. It's come to this moment.
Listen, I like Austin
To
Matthews.
lose.
He's American, and you gotta love
You're
an
just
American that's good at
You're
hockey.
just looking
but
at me like this idiot over here. Just picked the Maple Leafs to beat
the
the Bruins.
Maple Leafs. The Maple Leafs.
Someone's got to go out there and do it. You know?
I guess.
Unfortunately.
So the next matchup, me and Andrew both have the Canes and the Rangers, and you have the Canes and the Devils. So you go ahead and take this one.
That's tough. Yeah, that's really tough. I actually like the way the Devils have played. I think they kind of came up a little sleepy against the Rangers at the start of the series. But I think throughout the season, they were one of the more consistent teams in the NHL. They started off the season really hot, and they just kind of maintained it. While as Carolina just seems to teeter at times, especially when it comes to the playoffs. Like you said, they get hot in the playoffs, and then they get ice cold. So with that being said, I think this is when Carolina gets cold. Give me the Devils in 5.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
I have the Canes and the Rangers. I moved Patrick Kane on as far as I could. He's a terrible person. He's in that same category with Sean Watson. Hate him. So give me the Canes in 7. Sebastian Aho, huge series.
Well, I've got the Canes and the Rangers as well. So I think the Rangers are gonna be tired after this series. Honestly, I put down Rangers in 7, right? In
Mm.
So I think they're gonna be tired. I think also, how do you stop a hurricane? You can't.
Yeah.
So give me the Hurricanes. Give me the Hurricanes in 5.
He's really
Um,
riding that eschatology. I like it.
You might as
yeah.
well.
Yeah.
When in doubt.
So that'll bring us to the conference finals.
Yeah.
I have the Avs and the Knights. And I didn't even really want to pick the Avs in the first round. So I'm going to take the Knights in 6. And they will advance to the Stanley Cup finals.
I just think Vegas is too good. I mean, I just don't see the same Colorado team that I saw last year. And I think that when you look at the bottom side of the Western bracket, it's very tough. You have Vegas, you have the Oilers, you have the Kings. Then you look at the top and you have the Avs, and I just don't really like any other team there. I think the Knights are just a way better team than the Avs. And I mean way better. Um, yeah, give me the Knights in 5. Give me Vegas in 5.
Jordan, you'll have to remind me who I have. I know I have the Knights. Do I have the
Yeah,
Kraken and the
Vegas
Knights?
and the Kraken.
Okay, so I think
The
I
two
think
newest teams in the NHL. Imagine that.
Mhm.
yeah. Well, I'm a new hockey fan, so
That's fair.
so I think I do think the Kraken run is over. I think Vegas is too good, and I think they're going to go out and show it. Give me Vegas in 5.
So we all have Vegas coming out of the Western Conference.
Yep. Yep. Jordan, go ahead and take this next one. I'm just going to open this up to you. So.
All
Me and
right.
Andrew have the same match.
Toronto and New Jersey, man. I mean, honestly, like, again, I talk about the Devils and I talk about their consistency throughout the season, but they're running into the buzzsaw that is the Toronto Maple Leafs, right? Look, there's something I've watched them play this year, and I've watched a lot of their. I mean, they're always on the national TV. They're always on TV, whatever. Watched a lot of them over the past couple of years. There's something a little different about the Maple Leafs this year. Austin is going to probably just berate me in
He
the
will.
conversation of this. Yeah, give me the Maple Leafs in 7.
Oh
Maple
my
Leafs going to the
God.
finals. Y'all are acting like the Maple Leafs aren't good, bro.
No, I'm not.
Y'all are
saying
acting like the Maple Leafs have 111 points this season.
Hey,
Right,
and you
they
know
had a
what?
great year.
If they do make this run, you'll look like a genius. But
Exactly.
go ahead and say it with me. Bruins in 5.
Oh, 100%. I agree 100%.
Y'all are both going Boston. Come on now.
Yeah, I mean,
No.
they're the
Dude,
best team in hockey.
Hey,
I want
look,
this
one
matchup,
word.
Vegas and Boston,
word.
dude.
One word. Overrated. I can't even keep a
You
straight
can't
face.
even say that with a straight face. Come on now. And I
All right,
hate Brad
I'm
Marchand.
gonna go first in the Stanley Cup Finals because this is the year that Toronto breaks
Because his is make believe.
and they finally make it to the Stanley Cup Finals and lose because Vegas is way better than them. Give me Vegas in 6. Vegas.
Oh man, you picked
Stanley Cup
Vegas going it all.
Yeah,
Okay, I'm not going Bruins in 5 here. So
you're going
I'm going
Bruins.
to change it up a little bit. I'm going to go Bruins in 7. Vegas is good enough to push them to 7 games. I think it'll be very back and forth, a very fun series. Both teams are so exciting. I will watch every game of this Stanley Cup Finals. But I picked the Bruins. I know it's an easy pick to make, being as they're as good as they are, but it's too easy. It seems like low-hanging fruit. So I'm going to take the Bruins in 7, and I'm going to say David Pastrnak wins the Conn Smythe.
All right, so I also have the same
I
matchup
got
here.
Jack Eichel, by the way.
Okay.
Got the same finals here. I've got I'm scared to say this because honestly, I think the city will burn to the ground and spread like wildfire. But I've also got it going to Game 7, and I think it's going to be Vegas. I think it's their year, and I think they're too hot, and I think the Bruins are going to choke.
Okay.
I just have a feeling they're going to choke too. I mean, everything's just gone perfectly for them, and again, they're going to run into the buzzsaw that is the Toronto Maple
Just
Leafs.
stop.
No, listen,
Stop.
nothing would make me happier than to see Brad Marchand cry again. I
Yeah.
hate him. I hate Vegas, but if it came down to Vegas versus the Bruins, I would root for Vegas
Same.
Yeah.
because, I mean, I don't have anything against Jack Eichel. He had to play in purgatory that is Buffalo for all those years. So
If it came down
but
to Toronto and Vegas, which is my finals, I'm rooting
I'm
for Toronto.
I'm rooting for Toronto.
Oh,
Colin
yeah.
Armstrong plays for that
Hard.
team. Yeah. So
Oh.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Before we end this right now, just some live scores as we end this at 9:13. Boston is currently up 10 at the end of the third quarter on Atlanta. It looks like they're going to be moving on and playing my Sixers as I predicted. Minnesota is currently up 13-5 with 7:04 left in the first quarter against the Chicken Nuggets.
I hope
New
that
York-
continues.
Yeah,
I don't
me
want
too.
to see the Nuggets go.
The Islanders are still up 3-1 on the Hurricanes, and Dallas has spread it out to a 3-0 lead against the Wild, making my pick look stupid. But I'm riding with it because I made it.
It's okay.
So,
I mean, look, it's still. I mean, it's a 2-2 series, so anything can
yeah,
change.
you never know.
Yeah.
But it's been a fun one, even though we didn't have our Yankee Doodle with us.
Yeah.
We look forward to him joining us next week. We will be actually joining each other via video call during the NFL draft. So maybe we can get a couple live reactions to our picks whenever we do that. So that could be a lot of fun. So look forward to that in the next episode. And we'll also, break down the NFL draft in our next episode and talk about our winners, our losers, see if there's any reaches, any surprises. But until then, thank you all for watching. Please continue to like and subscribe, share it with your friends. Share it with people you might not like, even if you think we're boring. Try to bore them. I don't think we are. I think we're pretty fun, but
Yeah, I think so.
spread the word far and wide.
It's like I think we're great.
So I think we're amazing. For all of my students that listen to us, if you've made it this far, I appreciate you. I can't give you any extra credit points. I wish I could, but thank you all for watching. And with the draft coming up,
watch out for the Toronto Maple Leafs, guys.
Apparently.
Just watch out.
With the draft coming up, go Birds.